Welcome to our 2024 Classified Professional and Leadership Development webinar series. These webinars are sponsored by the Chancellor's Office, California Community College Chancellor's Office, and hosted by the Leadership Institute for Tomorrow, LIFT. I'm Dingjo Curry, the director of LIFT. It is my privilege to offer a variety of programs, from webinars to institutes to publications, Lift Your Voice, and more. If you're not receiving those, please let us know. We'll make sure that you get a copy of the publications. I want to thank the Chancellor's Office for having LIFT as a good partner in enhancing the leadership capacity of classified professionals. I also want to thank our good partners on the Board of Directors of 4CS, which stands for California Community Colleges Classified Senate, representing classified professionals in California. I also want you to know that we have closed caption option for those of you who prefer to use that. So if this is your first time joining us, congratulations. You're joining us as someone who wants to enhance your personal and professional capacities to lead a better life and grow in your own career. So first, we're excited to review the new Vision 2030 under Chancellor Sonia Christian's leadership. We move from Vision for Success goals and following the governor's roadmap goals to our own system's Vision 2030 goals. Then the strategic directions for the Vision 2030 plans are equitable baccalaureate attainment, equitable workforce and economic development, and generative artificial intelligence. These are three major directions that we're heading as a system. And there are also three major goals for our Vision 2030. And with each goal, there are specific outcomes. I invite you to check this out on the Chancellor's Office website. The first goal is equity in success. Second goal is equity in access. And the goal number 3 is equity in support. So if you didn't catch the word equity as this anchoring principle for all of us, and I invite you to visit the Chancellor's Office website to look at the further details if you have not received it on your campus. These goals cannot be accomplished without everyone's collective efforts. It is only when we work together in unison, and I also emphasize in unity, that we can achieve anything we set ourselves to do. It's for that reason that we feel our webinar series is designed to raise up everyone, especially the classified professionals in our system, because you are the ones that are everywhere throughout the entire system, and you are the ones who hold up more than half the sky for our institutions. Today's topic, cracking code, navigating campus politics for classified professionals, is crucial for classified professionals, or as a matter of fact, for everybody, because it directly impacts you, your ability to survive, shine, and thrive in your roles. We hope to offer insights beneath the surface and those unspoken rules that shape the academic landscape, which I know that for many, it feels complicated and complex, right? How many times have you heard people say, I know I have heard a lot, I'm not political, or I'm not a politician, or I don't do politics. Well, politics is essentially, it's the business about people. It revolves around human interactions, relationships, and the dynamics that shape decision-making process and everything else. So therefore, politics is the art of managing and navigating the human aspects inherent in any collective endeavor or organizations. It's important to know what's going on above and below the surface. So with us today, I have a wonderful panel. I invite people you can identify as colleague, classified professionals, as well as someone who understands the role you're on because she has been in your shoes before. First, the executive assistant to the vice president of student services, and also she's a classified center president on her own campus, Laney College, Miss Hope Lane. And second, from 4CS Board of Directors and currently serves as supervisor of learning resources at Oxnard College, Mr. Gilbert Downs. And lastly, as a person who started as a classified professional and walked in your shoes for 10 years and changed lanes to the administrative path all the way to the presidency, is president of Orange Coast College, Dr. Angelica Suarez. Let's take a look at our panel. But before I start with my first question, I want to turn to our audience first and ask you to please listen, take notes, reflect at the same time about your own spheres, right? About your own roles in that sphere. Are you aware of things that the panelists are talking about? Have you done some of the same things that the panelists are talking about? Can you relate to that? Or perhaps you are hearing something new, which we hope so. And lastly, I want you to begin thinking about what you're hearing and what might you start doing as an action. So take notes, and I'm going to come back to you on that action part later, okay? So let me start with the first question for our panelists. Panelists, why is it important for classified professional to develop this political awareness?
Well, Dr. Curry, I will get started. And first of all, I think that, as you mentioned earlier, we do everything in unison. We are a community that uplifts students, and we need everyone being part of that process. So being active, being aware of the political dynamics on your campus really contribute to empowering our professional, classified professionals to contribute to the success, to the resilience, and the direction that the college is taking. Specifically, I will say that as you develop political awareness, there are 4 different areas that truly, are important. Number 1 is the leadership on campus. Classified professionals, by becoming politically aware, shape the future of the institution through governance structures, creating an inclusive, welcoming environments, also impacting the issues that happen at the state level as well with legislation. Second, it's professional advancement opportunities. As you learn about the political dynamics on your campus, you have an opportunity to learn about the different aspects of the institution and think about your own professional journey and what you might be interested in doing next. So it really provides you with a plethora of opportunities by knowing the campus. I mentioned earlier the college planning processes, becoming co-creators of what shapes the institution, objectives, initiatives, and really giving voice to the classified professionals to successfully support students. And then lastly, I'll say influence the governance through policy and procedure. Whether you're in a single college district or a multi-college district, you're sitting at the table sharing your perspective as policies and procedures are drafted and then of course presented to the governing board. So again, there are a number of different areas, but I just wanted to identify 4 different ones that I think are absolutely essential. Thank you.
And I also think what's really important here is that we are all here doing the same job in terms of supporting our students. And going around and speaking with our deans and our faculty members and our senior leadership is really giving us a different perspective on how we can support them better. Many times we are working in our areas and we're focused on our goals in our areas of how we want to accomplish things. But reaching out and going to these committees and listening to others to find out how the things that we do are going to support and enhance others, make things so much easier. Once we know that we're all on the same page and we're working together to make it as easy and accessible to our students as possible, is where we're going to start succeeding.
Across the state, all colleges in our district have formal and informal political structures. But to gain better awareness of these political structures, classified professionals need to understand first how the college and districts works. That means how it is organized and the understanding of one's role in participatory governance, which is very essential. That means committees function to serve everyone, and how classified can be a part of service on each committee. But informally, it's also how our voice is heard, our positions appreciated, and our experience works to help others. So again, the formal part is to make sure we know the issues, be willing to be a part of the committee structure, to be of service to the college. Informally, it's about you, the person who helps others when a student needs to get to the offices in student services or anywhere on campus. In some ways, as classified professionals, we want to make sure we are part of the process and part of any solution. Knowing more helps everyone.
I like that. You all put it in the context of, yes, it's good for me to know what's going on, but the ultimate goal is that to know what's going on actually helps you to serve the students better. So I appreciate that. Hope, let me ask you a question. As a classified professional and a leader of your classified professional on your campus, now, how did you develop this awareness of who are the key players, decision makers, and what's going on with the power dynamics on your campus from a classified professional role you hold? Because, you know, the seat you occupy determines the angle of your view, right? So from a classified professional's viewpoint, vantage point from your role, can you tell me a little bit about that?
So with classified professionals, when we accept a job, most often they retire in that position, but during that time, we acquire institutional knowledge. We stay and we serve, which I believe should be considered a statewide appreciation and respect for our classified colleagues. Participation in shared governance, like I mentioned earlier, specifically committee work, can help classified professionals get to know and identify the goals of college and district key players and decision makers. To develop awareness, we must first listen, students and colleagues, to our students and our colleagues and administration. Then participate in the conversations of the committees we're involved in so that the collective dynamics work to support everyone as we are involved in decision-making that affects us all. In my role as a classified Senate president, I've become aware of college and district leadership through a variety of convenings. I want to represent all of my colleagues as I share their concerns and successes with our college leadership.
Yeah, and obviously you have stepped outside of just your role, right? You've gotten up from your chair and you walked out of your
Right.
spheres and want your role. I thank you for that. Gilbert, you have taken your leadership not just on your campus, but you now have taken a new step to the state level. So there's navigation that you have done outside of your campus, inside of campus. From your understanding, can you help us unpack these tangible key factors that will shape the political climate on a college or district?
Wow. So that is a great question. And when I I thought about this for a while because it's really important to understand how our role is going to shape the view for others. And it's not just within our district. What I really enjoy about 4CS is all of us coming together to discuss our shared goals. So throughout this state, there's so many of us that are trying to take care of things, and many times we feel that we're alone. And when we come together and discuss those goals, that's where we are going to be able to pull all of our efforts together and make sure that this is working. So it is extremely important from the 4CS perspective, not only with professional development, but within the committee meetings. We're getting in on the ground floor and we are helping cultivate what is going to be coming to the campuses later. And when we get there to the campuses, we could then say, we have been on the ground floor, we have helped shepherd this to you, and now we could help refine it. And one of our main goals as being a member of the 4CS Board of Directors is making sure that our other board members and our state chancellor and others are hearing the feedback. Because oftentimes things will come out of the chancellor's office, but they may not hear all those little things that we have discovered as we are going through it. So it's extremely important that we're keeping the communication open and that we are willing to listen and adapt to all the many changes when there's great ideas coming up.
So what I'm hearing you say, and you're highlighting the 4CS, is that if I'm having trouble to understand what is going on statewide from the chancellor's office and then rolling down to our campus, 4CS could be a resource. If your campus have the Senate, classified Senate, and they could reach out to those of you who are on the board or other representatives of the 4CS as a resource and help each other understand what's going on your campus. Oh, I see. Here's something that's going on statewide. So I'm not alone on our campus that this is shaking up. Yes?
Absolutely. We have so many amazing classified employees across the state, and building those connections so we can speak to one another will only make things more successful.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, let me ask Angelica. And Angelica, as a president now who has risen from the classified professional, would you please give us your own experiences from being a classified professional? And I know you told me 10 years from that positionality and now a president. So having gone through that path and knowing the landscape and part of the landscape now you shape, on a college campus dynamic, what practical strategies are there to help our classified professional to develop this political awareness on their own campus?
I was thinking about this question, and I'll share just a little bit about the 10 years that I spent as a classified professional. And I have often shared with our college community, our classified professionals, that serving as a classified professional for 10 years truly set the foundation for the career that I'm on now, because of the experiences that I had. As a classified professional, I worked as a clerical assistant in EOPS. I worked in the Dean of Students. I worked in the Office of the President and ended up my career as a classified professional as the executive assistant to the president. And I was very curious about how things were working. I was going to committee meetings, the college planning and budget committee, and hearing different things. So I felt I was able to not just understand the different pieces of the puzzle, but see the top of the box with a bit more clarity. And so having that political awareness allowed me to serve students. And so understanding the value that those experiences created for me, and when I felt that my voice was being heard, that it was being taken into consideration, that the work that I was doing was valued, only serve to inspire me and empower me to help students to a greater level. And so that curiosity carried me through my career, my professional journey of moving into a faculty position, dean position, vice president, now president. And so how that has informed my leadership today is to recognize the incredible value that our classified professionals bring to the table and engaging them in those conversations at the table to hear, our Chancellor Whitney Yamamura speaks about the marketplace of ideas. And that is so true because everybody has that perspective to creating spaces that allow our classified professionals to contribute, to be engaged, to be co-creators of what shapes the college and our districts. Definitely will be a win for our students. So practical strategies that I would, that I worked for me was continuing to be curious and continuing to ask questions. Your questions are valuable, are important. And as a college leader, as a college president now, I want to make sure that if somebody is not speaking, that I notice that because there's a lot of knowledge. Just because someone is silent does not mean they don't have anything to say. And so anyhow, I think that becoming involved in college governance, you're able to build relationships across the institution. I think all of those things helped me. And then always, our classified professionals have taken a number of leadership positions on campus. But again, it's elevating that voice and making sure that we are asking for involvement because ultimately, who benefits? Our students.
Thank you. It sounds like just let your curiosity lead you. Explore things that you don't know about and find out what's going on, right? Speaking of what's going on, I'm sure you know where the system's strategic direction is going, right? Why do you think I presented the big picture? This is what's going on in the state. This is our new vision plan now, Vision 2030. So that has direct and indirect, right, impact to your own college's strategic directions of if the system is going in that direction, where you think your college is going and what does that mean in terms of your role? So thank you for that. Curiosity and leads into your active engagement. Everything is always connected. On the topic, now I move to this decoding. So a lot of people have registered to find out what is the secret code. So on decoding the campus dynamics, there are many elements that at play, and it may not be apparent always on the surface, right? Because people say, are you speaking in codes, right? So can you help us, our panelists, can you help our classified professionals who may feel that challenge in cracking this code on their campus to those hidden implicit power structures or those subtle cultural influences that because of your roles, you have some views of what's going on behind the scenes? I'm going to turn to Gilbert and Hope. As classified professional leaders on your campus, I think you may have seen some of that behind the scene stuff. So what specific tips and hints that you can help unveil the mystery unfolding on the complex campus dynamics that we encounter for our classified professionals?
For me, I think what really made the difference was I was so intimidated by going to meetings. We often will think we don't know everything that's happening in the meeting. And so what are we going to do? And it took a very special academic senate president to shepherd me and help me understand that I don't have to understand everything. Being in the room and getting to know what is happening is what's important. And that also played into understanding I need to be a little more vulnerable. It's okay that we don't have the answers, but we are going to find ways to get those answers. And navigating those waters and just showing up is what is so important. And that is what really made a difference to help me feel not only that I belonged there, but have a sense of belonging on my campus. I had already been on my campus for 6 or 7 years before I went into Classified Senate. And it really opened up my eyes to why I'm truly here. And it gave me a whole new sense of belonging. And it was honestly one of the best things that could have happened for me.
Wow, thank you. Hope? About you?
So how do you crack the code? Well, first, you need to know who the players are. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our new chancellor who is returning to the Peralta District, Dr. Tamel Gilkerson, Laney College President, Dr. Rudy Besikoff, and let's not forget Vice President of Student Services, Dr. Marlon Hall, who is my boss, in addition to the other administrative teams. Understanding transparency among classified professionals and administration is key. Making sure that communication from management, whether good or bad, will allow classified professionals to better understand what is happening and feel valued when complex dynamics arise. Again, I will go back to listening. First, to both what's being said and not said. Not being fearful of asking questions, but always try to be a giver of solutions. Another campus dynamic is reminding us all that classified are often the first to arrive and last to leave. And as such, we turn off the lights. So recognition comes in a variety of ways. From me, the executive assistant, to the custodial team and everyone in between. We should be paid a living wage, recognized, valued, and respected. Lastly, cracking the codes within our institution is an unseen challenge. Since the pandemic, we have had issues with facilities, technology, and remote work concerns. It seems like everything is a challenge today, but these are the most common that I see within our campus.
As a senior leader, the head of the institution, everyone view you as the person who would have all of the secret codes of what's going on, and the code book is in your office, and maybe you created those secret codes. So what advice would you give to classified professionals who are eager to learn how to understand informal networks or power structures that influence decisions that impact them?
So I would hope that maybe some of those secret codes would have been co-created, right? So they wouldn't be so secret. I know sometimes we engage in conversations similar to when we talk to students, when we talk about, that we are getting the seat funding that will help us with our SCIF, and where will this take us with our FON? And then we realize, wait a minute, not everybody has been in the same spaces. So I hope you mentioned communication. I think that is definitely something that is ensuring that you have communication that is transparent and that people could connect at different levels. I'm going to sound like a broken record with regard to how you understand the informal in networks and power structures. But I'm going to say continuing to get involved in the governance structure, ask questions, share your voice, relationship building, whether they're formal because of the role that you play or informal. And for example, I grew up in the student services world. However, as we know in student services, you have to work with everyone on campus, and knowing, I was going to say crossing over, but making sure that you know what's going on in instruction, talking to the deans, administrative services. So really making those connections, talking about the different pieces of the puzzle, and making sure you're able to understand how all of that works. Knowing the organizational charts are important, but that's not the full story. We also know that there's informal power structures. And so as you get to know people, as you get to develop those relationships, you also understand where, I'll say, the influencers are, or who has that ability to influence decision-making and so forth. The other thing I would recommend is, as you undertake different leadership roles on campus and at the state level, again, share that knowledge on campus as well. You'll become, again, it's creating that very well-versed knowledge base that you also can bring back to the institution. I also would recommend attending, I'm not going to say every board meeting, but attending some board meetings, because I think that those are really important. In our district, our classified senate has a report that they give to the board on a monthly basis. And I think that that is also important to see, again, how the structures are related and where the voice of our classified professionals are is significantly important as board members are also looking to make decisions. So get involved, share your voice, connect on campus with all of your various colleagues, understand the organizational chart beyond the organizational charts to see where the informal influencers are, if you will.
I'm going to push that a little bit further with you. When you say get involved, I'm a classified professional. I just came to this college 3 years. Maybe I'm brand new into this space. I learned my job now. I feel settled in, and I don't do anything outside of my job. When you say get involved, what might be something that I could actually get involved with? Can you give me just one simple example?
Sure. Get involved with your classified senate. If you have a classified senate, get involved with the classified senate. And then from that it branches out to different areas. There's always an opportunity, but maybe start there so that you can start hearing about the different things happening on campus. And then you can find a place that might be exciting for you, again, where you think that you might be able to contribute, and that would also be, contribute to your professional development.
And if you don't have a classified senate, maybe you can ask other colleagues elsewhere from 4th years, how do you start one? That might be one of the ways of doing that too. That's wonderful. All right, I'm going to move into our next section. Let's get into some concrete navigational skills in this space. So I'm going to turn to our entire panel now. Can you provide some practical steps with concrete examples of how classified professionals that you've witnessed, that you know or yourself has successfully learned or acquired or succeeded in navigating campus politics? What skills do you observe them using to do these navigations on campus politics?
I'd like to talk about the Caring Campus State Initiative and its implementation at Laney to better support our students who encountered facility challenges and resource concerns, among other issues. Yet we knew if we could develop a framework that addressed the issues, students could have a rewarding experience navigating through our campus. In my opinion, to navigate campus politics, maintaining a professional demeanor is the most important skill. As we begin to develop the framework, we knew to cultivate this mindset and remember why we are here, to serve students. While some voices became louder than others, finding a common voice worked. In this case, the common voice is that of the needs of Laney students, who are some of the most diverse and often lack the basic needs. But the skill set we use were perseverance, teamwork, commitment, active listening, and problem-solving skills. Those were fine-tuned to help the Caring Campus initiative find its way to success. And within that, we've implemented new signage. We have all of our classified professionals and administrators and students have lanyards. And we've created a campus directory. So staff and faculty, we can locate each other when we have a student who needs the assistance.
I think what is also important is building your support system around you. If it wasn't for many deans and faculty members, it would have taken me a lot longer to understand what is going on. So building that team and getting involved is paramount. I think that also we need to make sure that we are listening to our fellow classified employees. So many times that we're in Classified Senate, we're here to speak on behalf of them. But it's extremely important that we are communicating with others to make sure that we are letting our executive leaders and others know what our campus is feeling and what we can do to help with that. And that goes into looking at our strengths and our passions. So working in these committees, one thing I discovered is that I have a great passion for strategic planning, which is not something I ever thought would be something I'd be interested in, but getting more involved and learning those strengths and then letting people know what those strengths are so you can go and get involved in those in other areas is very important.
So on sitting on committees, you're saying that, oh, you're interested in strategic planning, but you don't know anything about it, but jumping into strategic planning process or bodies that does strategic planning and help you gain
Yes.
different skills. That's great. And Helika, you must have used a lot of these navigational skills. What have you used in your lifetime from classified professional all the way to the president now that those skills have served you well along the way?
So I was thinking about that, and one of the, first of all, is being resourceful. I said it earlier. Be curious about if there is something that you're addressing or some issue that you're facing. Do your research, be resourceful, become knowledgeable about whatever the issue is. And how do you become knowledgeable? Obviously, some of these webinars are fantastic to stay informed about what's going on. But also, oftentimes the college would send out, I do that here, but as a classified professional, there are regular communications that the presidents would send out about what was going on, the college priorities, updates. Stay informed about what's going on your campus. Also, there are board updates. There's a college newspaper. Become well-versed in the priorities and the issues that your campus faces so that you can make those connections to issues at the state level, also the chancellor's goals, as we've just mentioned earlier. The second thing is, again, we've talked about this before, it's become involved. Be part of the governance structure, wherever you want to start. Because as a classified professional, you also then start gaining that knowledge across the institution. I believe also in building positive relationships. Walk around on campus. And I get it. I mean, we oftentimes are classified professionals. They're student facing. It's very difficult, but make connections with other departments that you can learn about what that individual is doing. And again, the more you know, the more you'll be able to help students. So I will say curiosity, asking questions, be enthusiastic, positive, assume best intentions, and always with a spirit of collegiality and optimism.
Great. And I do know that many classified professionals feel, their plates are full, quite daunting, that taking on anything or getting involved on a committee, it's even added, with tasks on their plate. I was just wondering, Angelica, what do you say to those classified professionals that my plate is full? How do I get out of my desk and get things done and then still be involved on campus? Any advice to that?
So actually, we just, so I have a regular meet, as a college president, I meet with all of my constituency leaders. I meet with the president of the classified senate. And for example, we had recently a accreditation midterm report, and our classified professionals were having, they needed to take time to review that because we want to hear their voice and their feedback in that accreditation midterm report. But what I do then is also work with my team, my management team, my leadership team to say, this is really important. Please make sure you work with the classified professionals that carve out time during their work time so they can participate and have the opportunity to read that ICER or that accreditation report. So not only am I asking for the feedback of classified professionals, but also working with my team to say, to create those spaces and carve out that time and help prioritize some of the many things that are on people's plates so that we can also provide those opportunities for our classified professionals to engage meaningfully in the work of the college. So I think that I'm able to do that now as president because I also remember oftentimes you don't have that time to do that.
Mm-hmm. And what you said reminded me of what Gilbert said earlier in terms of just engagement, right? I've heard that word now several times today. Is that one of the ways to find out what's going on and how important it is to know what's going on is engaging. And I heard Gilbert said earlier by engaging, he actually gained this sense of belonging. And we all know when you feel a sense of belonging on the campus, that you actually find a whole different meaning about what you do. How does it relate to the institution? How does it relate to actually, the purpose of your work? Even though your job may not be serving students directly, but all of us doing something. Every single role has something to do with students, because that's really the business we're in, is helping students succeed. So thank you for that. Let me move on to another topic that has to do with campus politics as well, because this is about things change, right? Shifts happen, whether we want it or not. And I think that in particular, things happen to classified professionals, seems like more frequently than not when things make changes. As simple as you changed a supervisor, they got transferred to another place, or you lost them to another college, or something happens. Change happens all the time. And as we said, we have a new chancellor at the system level, and we have now Vision 2030 as a continuum. So change generally happen from the top, it seems like, and the impact is felt throughout the institution. And classified professionals, among many others, are often impacted differently from other constituent groups. I dare say, when change happens, faculty feel it differently from how classified are impacted. So I like to ask this question of Hope and Gilbert. How can classified professionals proactively adapt to changes in their leadership, in campus policies or system policies, or organizational structure, right? Reorgs that seem to happen to them more often than not?
Yes, so earlier I reminded everyone that classified professionals often stay a lifetime on their campuses. Of course, we hope they get promotions into different positions, but that doesn't happen, then we have the leadership transition. And as classified professionals, we welcome the incoming administrators. And when they come, the welcoming process is about teaching and learning. And we have to teach the new administration about who we are, but also learning to know them and getting to know them and their management styles. However, organizational structure and changes in policies and procedures are common themes in community colleges. We classify professionals at the table in participatory governance, support continuity across changes through a college and districts. Therefore, it's really important for us to be knowledgeable and active as we play our role in helping colleges function at the highest level possible, regardless of the constant turnover that we see.
And I really love change. Change is something I thrive on. And working in the community college system, we see a lot of individuals come in and out of the system. And it's embracing that change and getting to know the individuals that is what is so important. So, for example, right now at my college, I don't work with Angelica, but in a couple of years, I might. And so it's really important that we build these connections and get to know one another, because it can pay off for us later when we might end up in the same room, working on the same project. And having that connection is so incredibly important. When it comes to policies and procedures, it is paramount that we're asking the questions. And it's okay if we do not understand things, and if we need to ask again and ask for clarification. We should not feel that we just have to know everything the moment is presented to us. And understanding that we can get the clarity for these new procedures are only going to make our jobs easier.
That's a great advice. It's just really a knowing and also it was always like, you do it with the end in mind. You never know who might be, right? So adopting change, and you're one of the few who said thrive on change. Most people have a hard time adapting to change. We say we like change, but when change does happen, we choke on it. And so if you, what you just shared reminded me to, have a different change of mindset, if you will, since we're talking about change of mindset about changes. So embracing that. So thank you for giving me that reminder. And Helga, you're on one side of the change, but now you're also the person who create a lot of changes, and probably maybe sometimes blame for change happening. So what advice and action do you suggest classified professionals to adapt these ever-changing leaders that sometimes they report to, or policy that the stuff, come down from the top, or structures within the college or district?
So there's a saying that I don't know that I will have it right, but basically successful change happens at the speed of trust. And so it's about trying to build that foundation of trust on your college campus so that you can better navigate and experience the change. Because change is inevitable, and we know that. I mean, that is the constant. So again, some advice that I would provide is, remain flexible, adaptable, and patient, because those change will happen, as Gilbert just mentioned. Also assume best intentions. And again, assuming best intentions comes with creating a culture of trust on your campus. And so sometimes that may not always be as transparent as it could be. But remember earlier, I mentioned being curious, asking questions, starting conversations with not why did you do this, but rather tell me more about this change. Help me understand. I think it's through asking questions that we get to the root of whatever the issue is. And then as we navigate change, again, because it will happen, whether we like it, whether we don't, as a president, as a district, as a state, that we have to remember why we're doing this work. We're doing what motivated us to engage in the work that we do every day, which is we have our own personal narratives. We have that student that we remember or encouraged us to pursue this career, always going back to your core of why we're doing the work of uplifting students and inspiring students. I talk about impacting generations of students that perhaps may not have had higher education in their histories and their narratives. So anyhow, I often say here at the college, and people know this, that when I first arrived at Orange Coast, I wanted to share with everyone because I knew that they were going through a change. They had had a president for many years, and so here I am, a new person. And I wanted to share with them all the things that I knew. And then I was reading this article by the person who was from the president of IEDC, who is the brains behind carrying campus across the country now. And he said, nobody cares how much you know until they know you care. And I think that goes to building a culture of trust.
That's great. And change is really not that easy to adapt, but it is when we lean into it, right? And I know that those, like when Gilbert was talking that he just thrive on change, I thought about it, that would be the person that I would, like you would attract my attention, Gilbert, because I think that when you're leading change, when things are happening, that's a positive trait. When you find somebody who actually love changing and being part of the change, being part of the design team in creating the change. If you don't like the change that's happening to you, then again, back to your key word, get engaged and become part of that change so that you can shape what changes you want on your campus. I really appreciate what you are saying. All right, well, I'm looking at the time here, being mindful. We do have a few minutes, and I want to circle back to each of you. Maybe we start with you, Hope. can you give us your final parting inspiring comment for our classified professionals so that they are not fearful or reject this campus politics and want to be engaged in finding out?
So I just want to remind everyone that I am but one Senate president in a multi-college district. I do what I can at Laney to support classified professionals. I don't always get it right, but I try to hear concerns and I do my best to support all of my colleagues. I attend the classified leadership put on by the 4Cs and have been fortunate to attend LIFT and other professional development opportunities as they arise. I stepped up to do this first webinar with Dr. Curry. Thank you for this opportunity and the other panelists. And I will encourage other classified professionals to do the same throughout the year. So when I come for you guys, and I need you on committees, I need your support. I am committed to navigating our college and district politics as well as helping others statewide. My advice is to get involved, listen to each other, and have the best respect possible for everyone. There are great jobs in our community colleges, and we all need to be committed to action. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Gilbert, parting words.
Yes, well, thank you so much. I think what is really important is that for me, I had to get past my fear and my intimidation of the academic world to change how I viewed things. And going to these committees and building up my self-esteem really made a difference in how I served our students and our classified staff. And in my personal life, it pushed me to continue my education and try out new things. And it was all that fear and intimidation that was holding me back. And now I am often thriving on trying new things. As Hope was, I participated in LIFT last year, and that challenged me in ways I never expected. And it's amazing that we can continue to do these things and try and be challenged and see how well we succeed and what a difference it makes for us.
Thank you, really. Thank you. I know that it wasn't easy for you to say yes. You've never done anything like this, and both of you have said, and yet you lean into your vulnerability and being courageous to join me. And I just want you to know both of you have been wonderful. And Helica, any final parting word?
I'm just gonna say, whenever Dean Joe asks me to do something, it's done. So my advice is to our classified professionals, don't edit yourself. Your voice matters. It's important. Our students are depending on you for their success. Don't edit yourself. You matter.
Thank you for that. It is so important. And the reason why we do the webinar series for classified professional is that is our passion. We feel you, we hear you, we understand how important it is to develop your leadership potential and enhance your capacity, because it is only when you rise that the colleges and students rise with you. That's why we feel very strongly about the development of classified professionals. We want you to know that all of us here, the panelists are here, and there are many resources to encourage your participation. That I hope you've taken a lot of notes and that you gained some new insights. I asked you earlier for action. I'm going to ask Myra to open up the line. If you say one thing, I'm going to do this one thing, I'm going to try this one thing now, even though I've never done it before, but hearing what some of the panelists have shared their experiences, what is that one action you think you can give it a try? I'm curious about something. I'm going to go find out about something and I want to explore. I think I'm going to engage in something. whatever that may be, would you mind sharing that in the chat? We love to hear from you. And I know your action, your commitment will inspire others as they read your action. We're not going to take notes, so nobody's going to come back and say, did you do that? No, it's just your thought and your reflection of what you think you can commit yourself to try something new. We appreciate that. And we have evaluation. We are giving you the link right now. Please click on it and finish the evaluation now. Your feedback is critically important to us, so I urge you to please fill it out, okay? It's really important to us. We want to hear from you, how, if you gain anything. And our next seminar on March 1st, and the topic I hope is interesting to you because everyone has one of those. That's a boss, right? So our topic is about building effective relationship with your boss and how do you manage up. We have wonderful panel. We also have an author who has written a book about this topic. Will come share her wisdom with you. We have some live interactions. So please register it today if you have not done so. Thank you for your participation today. Thank you again to our panelists. I cannot thank you enough for coming along with me. And right now, we're going to bid farewell to you until March 1st at our next webinar. See you. Have a great weekend. And this is Happy Lunar New Year for those of you who celebrate it like me. And so see you next month. Thank you.